Welcome to Two Guys, or whatever we are, in search of an argument. You would not believe
There's three
what it
women on
took
here, by
to
the way.
get this episode off the ground. I had a date with Rachel McAdams I had to give up to be here tonight to record this episode. It's October 20th. It's 9 months since America's been held hostage, exactly to the day. It's almost one full year since the podcast episode has been held hostage. Since you last heard from us in September, we recorded another episode, and that seems now to be lost as well. So who knows if you'll ever hear this one, in which case it's been lovely knowing you. Tonight, I am joined by my regular colleagues, John, Peggy, Shelley, and Beth. And the primary purpose of tonight's confab is to hear Beth breathlessly tell us of her 3 weeks in Japan.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Seem like 3. Go ahead, Beth. Take it away. Arigato.
Start
have
with
to be
minute
obvious.
1, please.
Minute one.
Well, I will say that all my flights, and there were numerous flights, worked. All my connections worked. And I
Wow.
had to check my luggage on the way back, which I never do. I only do carry-on, but I bought myself a really fancy knife and had to,
A
of course, check
knife?
my bag for that. And, of course, over all the flights I had to get home from Japan, Osaka to Narita, Narita to Montreal, Montreal to LaGuardia, my bag came with me and it was waiting for me. So it's not often you can say all your flights went well. So that was definitely fantastic.
Nice.
The trip, I'm mad at myself that it took me so long to get to Japan. I was always sort of scared of going to Japan because you hear that they don't speak any English, that nothing's in English. Now, I did go on a tour, so that makes a difference. We had a guide, all the logistics were figured out. But it was spectacular. It just, and I don't mind a large city if it's well organized and clean and
Tokyo.
safe. And so the whole thing was so eye-opening. The country, we started in Tokyo and headed south, so I didn't get to see the northern part, but just so incredibly beautiful. Um, just it made me sad after living in Bangkok for 2 years. It made me really sad at what Bangkok could be and Thailand could be. If it wasn't for corruption and cronyism and military coups and all the other stuff that goes on in Thailand. But yeah, it was amazing, and I traveled with 9 other people.
Oh,
I knew
9? I didn't know
Yes.
that. Oh, it was a really big group.
Well, and we were part of a slightly bigger group. So there were a total of 21 of us traveling together. I knew most of the 9. I'd been roommates with Loretta. Obviously, I know her husband and their daughter. I traveled with more extensively. I knew Carrie and Hugh, but I had never met Carrie's 2 sisters or one sister's husband. So, but again, it all worked. It was like everybody had the right attitude. They went into it with, we are excited about going to Japan. I mean, obviously, there are a couple times where your jet lag kicks in or you're hangry and somebody can't decide on a restaurant or, any of that sort of travel stuff. But it was
With a
great.
group of 9, how do you ever decide on a restaurant?
Yeah, did you always have to
I
eat
can barely
together?
find a restaurant with 3 or 2.
Well, most of the meals breakfast was always at the hotel, so that's
Right,
easy. Got that
right.
taken care of. Oftentimes lunch was taken care of because we're on a bus and we're going to see something, and then they'll bring us to a restaurant and have like a preset menu. So that's like decisions are taken out for you. But the few times that we were trying to go out and find something to eat, that's when it got complicated because we were traveling with a 25-year-old and all information comes through social media, apparently mostly through TikTok. So we were
Including
like,
restaurant recommendations.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
I know that's true,
Yes.
but I can't imagine it.
So there'd be times where we'd be standing in front of a place that had seats and looked like it could take us and would say, "Well, let's go here. We just need food."
Yeah.
"Oh, no, it didn't get a good rating on blah, blah, blah." Like,
Oh.
Yeah.
right.
Peggy, your
Yeah.
picture is frozen.
Yes.
She's recording. I say it doesn't matter. She's recording, and
Yeah.
she can hear us fine.
Nope,
So
she just moved.
yeah, but I think it's when the viewer watches this, it's going to be fluid as silk.
I
I
agree
see.
with the people that review those stuff. I mean, I do look at the reviews, but I don't base my decision on them. I like, oh well, if they're all ones out of a five, then I might make my decision. But yeah, I just, yeah, that's unfortunate that had to influence where you went.
But 9 people, even with that, I can't imagine it. Did you
Yeah.
split up?
Well, there were a couple times that we did because of that. Like, at one point, one of the guys and I just said, "You know what?" Because we also couldn't find the restaurant. John, you'll know this from being in Asia, how in these big cities, there are signs 3 and 4 stories up the building. So you might be where Google Maps says you wanna be, but there could be 4 floors and everything's in the language you don't speak, and you're trying to, like, take a picture and use Google Translate, and I'm like, "There's a ramen shop right there. It's got tables. I don't care if I ate ramen yesterday. I'm gonna eat ramen again. Let's go eat ramen." And on this particular day when this happened, and we were literally in, like, the Times Square area of Tokyo, the 2 of us who had declared we didn't care about Google ratings, we were hungry, let's go to the ramen shop. The other 3 came in afterwards because they couldn't find the restaurant they were looking for. 25-year-old ended up trying to find something else and then didn't join us, and then her parents ended up staying out with her so she could go get food later. So it was just like, "Okay, I get it, you're traveling with your kid too, all that," but it's like no sort of awareness of some of us just wanna eat. Everything doesn't have to be a 5-star TikTok rating for me to have a meal.
Was
I
that
agree.
Shibuya? What neighborhood was that?
That
Shinjuku?
was yes.
Shinjuku. I love Tokyo so much. Yeah. And and Tokyo is nothing like the rest of Japan in some ways, but it's just wonderful on its own. It's another world. It's so great. Yeah, I couldn't the vertical thing is a big deal because Google hasn't figured that out. And and yeah, picky eaters is the worst. It's just big groups are the worst. I can't. When I travel with somebody for that, it's got to be like we'll travel together and like we might have breakfast together or we might say hello in the morning and then it's like okay, see you for dinner. Like separate ways. But that's
Well, and the
great.
other thing for me is I definitely need my downtime, so I made sure I
Yeah,
had my own room. I could have
yeah,
shared with a couple people, but I just had my own room.
sure.
And I would go down to breakfast maybe 15 minutes before we were supposed to like get on the bus. So I could like quickly get coffee and some fruit or something. But some of these people were like down there because it was like more socializing. And I was like, no, no, I definitely need like alone time where I'm not part of this bigger group because it's a lot. You're traveling
It's a
sometimes we're
lot.
like 12 or 13 hours a day together as this group. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, okay. I now need to take a break.
So do you wish you'd gone by yourself or with a smaller group or do you okay, so next time would you want to go by yourself or with a smaller group?
I
Do
would
you want to go back?
yes, I definitely want to go back to Japan. I'd probably do it with a smaller, just a couple friends. I mean, and
Yeah,
now that I can't say I've figured it out. Like we did get lost several times in the Tokyo subway stations 'cause
sure.
and again, that's the thing where we all grew up where we knew how to read a map and had, I think, probably a sense of direction. If you're only looking at your phone and you're underground and your phone doesn't work, then you're kind of stuck. So it was interesting again having that perspective of well, what information do we have before we go underground so we can figure how to successfully get out from underground at the right street entrance kind of thing.
Yeah. How many times do you have sushi?
Not that often. We
Yeah,
had
3
it a
times a
couple
day.
times,
Like I
but
did.
I did, I thought I had it oh, here it is. You can't really see it. This is my sushi certificate because we learned how to
Ooh.
make sushi, so I'm now certified.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Only
No.
Are you certified only to make it in Japan, or can you make it, anywhere?
Well, so half of this is in Japanese, so maybe it says something specific. The English part makes it sound like I'm certified anywhere.
There you
I
go.
think the actual Japanese translation of that is "Beware of this woman because she has her own knife now."
Right, a special knife.
Oh,
Yeah, so
and
tell
I
us
did
about the
cut my
knife.
hand the other day on my lovely knife.
What's the
Ooh.
knife?
So, okay, so the knife we got when we were on our way between 2 places, and our guide said, "Oh, we're gonna stop at this," and the rest stops there are fantastic. I mean, they've got, like, food you'd wanna eat, super clean bathrooms, interesting things to buy, and it turns out most of the people I travel with love ice cream, so you could
Mhm.
also get ice cream at most places.
Matcha
But
flavored ice cream?
he yeah, I mean, you could, but
Everywhere.
he he did, say, "Oh, if you wanna get a good knife, believe it or not, go at this rest stop, they have a knife shop, the knives are made in this area, they're locally made, they're the best knives, blah, blah, blah." So we go in there, and he's pointing out these different kinds of knives, and the one I got is just for vegetables. And he said, "Oh, this is a 3-in-1, and it can do vegetables," and it looked like a knife I had at home, but the just meaning you in theory could use the same knife to cut vegetables or
I see.
fish or meat,
I see.
which of course I think all my knives do that already. So I was like, so then the vegetable knife didn't look like any knife I had before, and it had this beautiful walnut handle, and I was like, okay, that's the knife I'm gonna get. And it was $100, which again is more than I would have paid for a knife in general. Um, and it cuts so beautifully. It is like so much fun. Like I'm chopping my
There's
onions
nothing
or I'm
more
doing
satisfying than
something.
a good knife.
Oh, and I
Nothing.
keep it in its little box it came in. I wash it right away and I dry it and I put it back in its little box in the drawer.
How big is it?
It's like probably
The
like that
blade?
big.
Is that
Yeah.
the blade?
I can
Okay.
5
send you
inches.
guys a
Yeah,
picture.
We'll
yeah.
put it on the
But
website.
it's yeah. It really is fun to use this knife
Yeah.
to cut
Yeah.
my vegetables. So,
Yeah.
That's
and
great.
then
That is.
right.
Yeah.
Because I don't need other stuff. That's the thing. I lived in Asia for 2 years. I got lots of stuff. So, I didn't really need anything but this knife. And then when we probably had another week after we bought the knives, and I start looking at knife prices. I'm like, "Okay. All right. We did okay. We didn't get, taken advantage of at the rest stop." So, I'm very pleased with my knife.
Recalling your favorite episode about all the different things that irritate you, Beth, will you be carrying this knife around with you? Do you envision that? Because I just think we ought
No.
to warn people that you're
No, because it's
susceptible
for
to being irritated.
vegetables, Jim.
Okay.
It's
By
not pointy
vegetables,
at
you
the
don't mean people
end.
my age or older. You mean something else, right? So,
It's not pointy at the end, so I couldn't stab you.
okay.
I'd have to, like, cleaver you, and that just
I could see
seems
you enjoying that actually, but that's another
And you know the
that's
only thing more dangerous in the kitchen than a sharp knife?
Jim? Oh.
A dull knife.
Yeah.
I thought you were
Anthony
going to say
Bourdain and Julia
a
Child.
dull-witted chef
okay.
or something.
My favorite line.
I think you've already said
Yeah,
it
you tried
more
to
than you
sing it.
should.
Hey, Beth, what was the most, exotic or bizarre thing that you ate when you were there?
I pretty
Everything
much
is so
stayed on the
good.
basic things. I mean, when we had sushi one day, some of them tried some of the things that I wouldn't eat. The um,
Deer steak.
25-year-old was thinking of trying the puffer fish, which you could potentially have an allergic reaction to and die.
Mhm.
Luckily, common sense prevailed, or we didn't find a place to have it, so she didn't do that.
I thought maybe
Um,
you would encourage her after she was ruining all your restaurant choices.
but the one thing, there were two times. Once when we
Shelley
were
doesn't need
near
a knife, obviously.
No, I can be evil without a knife.
when we were near Mount Fuji, we went to another mountain, and it's an active volcano, and there's sulfur gases coming up and all this, and they have charcoal there. So they made charcoal ice cream, which
Oh.
I did not try. It's black. Your tongue is black, your teeth are black. It looks gross. There's no reason to try charcoal ice cream. And then when we were in another place,
So
they're
wait, did it
famous.
taste
Yeah.
like ash? Did people in your group have
No,
it?
they said it kind of tasted like banana.
Oh.
Which is why I did not do that.
But there was an old science teacher my mother was best friends with, Miss Jacks, who was kind of like an extra grandmother to me, and she used to always like when we grilled things. She if something fell into the charcoal, like a hot dog or a hamburger, she'd say, "Oh, I like it. Something it was good for me." And she made some argument. I grew up with that, so it was always like a little burns good for you, or a little.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Wait a
don't
minute,
know.
she
I
would
have no
eat the
idea.
charcoal briquette?
No, she'd eat hot dog that fell into the charcoal
Okay.
baguette and
All
had a
right.
little bit of,
Okay. All right.
like,
I
I
don't
guess,
think it's good
charcoal
for
on
you.
it.
I think
Who knows?
it's
This was it
cancerous.
was the 80s. It was the 70s.
Mhm.
Everything was goofy.
Mm.
And then I did try ice cream that was wrapped in gold leaf.
Ooh.
Mm.
And again, like as long as you got the gold leaf and the ice cream together, it didn't really taste like much. If you just got gold leaf, it tasted like something kind of metally that you were eating.
So where
But
did you
we
say
were
you
at
were? You were in Tokyo, Hiroshima,
no,
Osaka,
not
and Kyoto?
Hiroshima.
Not Hiroshima. So
No,
Tokyo, Mount
Tokyo,
Fuji, Osaka, and
Kanazawa. I don't know if I'm
never been
saying
to
that right.
Kanazawa. Okay.
Takayama,
Oh, I've never been to
Kyoto,
Kyoto.
and Osaka.
Great. And your favorite place of those?
Hmm.
This is so easy for me. It's almost embarrassing.
It's not for me because we did great
Okay.
things in each place.
Okay.
Osaka was a bit of a letdown, actually.
Yeah, it was just a big city, right? Compared to,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean,
So that was kind of like, huh. Um,
Was it big city different than Tokyo?
yes, because it wasn't as clean.
Okay.
it's big.
And we stayed again. We were staying in a really touristy park, so that was dirtier even than the other places. Like even in the really busy areas in Tokyo, you'd see street attendants like cleaning up trash and there's no public trash cans. That was the other weird thing.
Mm.
I guess they
Huh.
had a bombing maybe a couple decades
Ah,
ago. So there's very few public trash
ah,
cans. So you're told ahead of time,
interesting.
like make sure you bring your own trash bag and take your
Ah,
trash with you. Um,
interesting. Wow. I remember I was living in Paris when it must have been after 9/11. They covered all the garbage cans and they closed them all, and it was just like a big mess. But that was
well, it's
Paris.
not a big mess in
No, I'm sure in
Japan,
Japan it's not a
but
big
yeah,
mess. Yes, very
yeah,
disciplined. Yes,
yes.
by comparison. So, did you do anything like a hot spring?
Well, so that was the other thing. So several of our places had the onsen,
Uh huh.
the
Yes.
hot pool, hot springs that you can go to, and they're segregated by sex, but you have to be naked.
Yep.
So a couple of the guys went and did it. Because we have a group of 21 and our age ranges are from 25 to 77.
Right.
None of the women, actually a couple of the women who were in their 70s who were all friends from Nebraska, they went and did it one night. But the rest of us were just like, no, I don't need to do that. I'm just not. And I'm not a big taking a bath or jacuzzi or hot tub person anyway. So
Uh,
if I could have worn my bathing suit, I might have tried it, but it wasn't one of my like, oh yeah, I'm really excited to go do that.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Yes, and she had actually been to Japan before, and she
Oh, weird.
loved it. She had a friend who was from high school who was stationed in the military, and his assignment was ending, so she went last year and fell in love with the country. So she came back and started talking it up, and then these other friends, the 3 sisters, they had always talked about going to Japan because their parents met in Japan. So they wanted to, both
U.S.
in the
military?
military. Yep, US military.
Okinawa and all? Okay, yeah.
And so they had always said, "Oh, we should go to Japan where mom and dad met."
Yeah.
So we that's how the whole trip got born. They were all at a party last October, and we're talking Portia was, I shouldn't say her name. She was talking about Japan. The sisters were talking about Japan. My friends, the parents of the 25-year-old took it over all the planning, and that's how the whole thing got developed. And then I saw them at Christmas last year and said, "Well, I want to go to Japan." So I invited myself. So,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah. None. None.
Why? Why? Uh, no, Beth, why? Out of embarrassment?
Music to John's ears, Peg. Music to John's ears.
The other, so there was a couple from California that were there because the wife was turning 40, and the husband announced this the first night when we all have to go around the table and say, you know, who we are and all that stuff. And so I hear him say, "Oh, my wife turns 40 on the 19th." So I coordinate with one of the other women who's super organized. And I said, "We should just do something for her. Like, let's, like, even if it's just a card or whatever, she's never going to remember her husband said this. And then
Right.
we could surprise her on her birthday. She's spending her 40th birthday with a bunch of strangers." So we get this whole thing organized. And then we're standing in the lobby, and like one of the guys in our group is an artist. So he makes a card. We all sign it. Like, we went out and got some like cute little things that will fit easily in your bag to take home. So I'm like, "Oh, this is awesome. Look at us. We're great." And then my one friend, whose nickname in college was Mama because she was always up in everyone's business, her husband pulls her aside and says, "Okay, go over there, sign this card." Who knows what exactly he says to her, but basically, "Shh, go over." She comes back to our group and says, "Oh my gosh, you guys, it's somebody's birthday today. And so we all have to go over one by one and sign the card." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Janet's birthday."
You just
Oh,
said it to her.
no.
Hilarious.
And she's like, "Oh, I didn't
Fail.
know." I'm like, "Exactly. You didn't know." So that was one moment where I lost it and was mean to somebody I've known for 40 plus years because I was so freaking annoyed. And it took me 2 days to apologize to her because I was just like, "You can't help yourself. Why can you ever just stop for a minute and think?" And so, like, 2 days later, I finally was like, "Look, I was inappropriate the other day. I'm sorry. It's stupid. Janet appreciated what we did.
Of
It doesn't
course.
matter, blah, blah, blah." She goes, "Oh, no, my husband yelled at me too. I was wrong, and I have to learn to think before I speak." So,
Well,
Oh,
she's the better person to get mad at. You've known her for so long, and you knew
oh, yeah.
you'd get back together versus
Yeah.
a
I can't imagine
stranger.
what it's like to have Beth mad at you. I can't imagine what that experience
can't
was like.
can't imagine it, Jim. Can't imagine it, Jim.
Yeah, I've had that experience like every week since I've known her. So,
Oh, no, Jim does a lot of stuff to annoy me.
oh my
I
God,
don't
that's
know if
why I'm
every
very
week,
concerned
but
about the knife, frankly. I'm very concerned about this knife business. Basically, it's easier to count the number of days when Beth is not annoyed at me than the days when she is. It's much more infrequent.
yeah.
So wait, okay. So what was the weather like? You were there in what month?
Oh, it was really hot when we were
Okay.
in
I was gonna say I
Tokyo.
think it was not the month I
So
was.
I was telling Jim this last week. It was so hot and humid, and I've lived in Bangkok,
Right.
traveled through Asia in the rainy season, lived in DC for 30 plus years. The humidity on one of the days almost did me in. It was just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Um, and again, as we left Tokyo, it did get a little better. It'd be 80s and sunny. We had like one day it rained a little, but we all had our raincoats and umbrellas and everything, so that was fine. But overall, the weather was nice. But Tokyo, that was pretty brutal. I mean, we definitely saw some of that, but I didn't try any. And we had a lot of fresh fruit at the hotel at the breakfast setting, so usually I just get my fruit there. Um, I'm trying to think.
Are you?
Yes,
Have you
yeah,
used them before?
I had not. Some of my friends had used them in last year to go to Ireland, and so they really liked the experience.
Are there
So
U.S.? It's a U.S. travel company.
yeah, it's called Gate One Travel,
Oh,
and we were
plug.
on yes, and we
You're
were on the
welcome, Gate One.
Discovery Tour, which is the smaller tour. They have all different levels of tours you can do with them, but it was great because they organized the hotels, the transportation, the bullet train ticket, all that stuff. And the bullet
Okay, so
train, oh my
yeah,
God, the
talk
bullet
about
train.
that. How you got around? Because you were on a. I assume you were on a bus some of the time. Because you said you were on like 12-hour travel. You said long days, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, no, we
you must have
had
had buses in there.
yeah, we had buses. We took the subway. We did the bullet train.
Okay.
Um,
Did you go on
bullet
the
train.
subway in Kyoto? Because the subway in Kyoto looks exactly like the subway in New York, but clean.
We came
It's the
into
And I
same
would
subway.
submit it
Kyoto.
looks nothing like the subway in New York, since filth is the dominant
Right.
feature of the
That's what I'm
subway in New York.
saying. It's like you wouldn't
Yeah.
recognize it, but it's the same car, same company. It's the same, built the same time, but they
I
took
think
care of
actually
it.
we get our cars pre-dirtied as
Yeah.
part of the image of the city.
That's called seasoned
Yeah.
in the cooking world.
I
They're
Yeah.
see.
seasoned.
I'm, s- Beth,
I'm
you.
learning
Sorry,
so much
yeah.
tonight.
Beth, you were saying about the Shinkansen train.
Well, the bullet train was just incredible because there's no like I take Amtrak up and down the Northeast Corridor. I've been on the Acela. This thing, you're flying and it's like it's not even wobbly. There's nothing. It's like so you're like how are we going this fast and this is so smooth. So that was really incredible. But the one thing wherever we got off on the bullet train, our guide said you have 3 minutes from the time like we arrive in the station to go, and if you're not
Japan.
off,
It's Japan.
then the train just goes on.
It's Japan.
And we were traveling with one person who had some mobility issues, so we
Uh-huh.
had this down like clockwork, like who's going to go and make sure like where we sat and which exit to get this person off and make sure that that person didn't feel stressed out about the mobility issues or any of that. And then one of the people who was in our group but not of our core 10 like bollockses up the whole thing, like stands in front of her and is like talking to somebody, and we're just like, get out of the way. We all got off the train, it worked, and we didn't kill anyone, Jim. So that was, and then when we were in Kyoto, they have the train station there has an 11-story department store attached. It has this giant outdoor plaza. It has artwork shown on the walls. It had a whole like floor of ramen shop food court where you could go to another part and get other food. So just the scale of everything there.
Amazing. Yeah, it's
And
amazing.
totally safe. Like Maura and I walked home. We went down this little kind of like what the old markets used to look like, the individual vendors and all that. but I never had to worry about a pickpocket or anything. And we were 3 miles from the hotel, and it's 9 o'clock at night, but we're like, "Let's walk home." Totally safe, walking down which I felt in Bangkok. I will say that about Bangkok. I never felt unsafe walking around the city by myself, whatever the hour. So, that was kinda neat to have that experience too. Yes, John?
So I have to ask, what do you like Murakami? Have you read anything? Norwegian Wood, Kafka on the Shore. Do you like any Murakami? Jim, you've read Murakami.
No, I have not actually.
None of you have read Murakami?
No.
Wow. Oh my God. I was going to ask you if you like reenacted any of his novels, like followed the character around Tokyo. I did that when I was there.
Well, clearly you'll have to do
Oh,
that on
okay.
the
Well,
next
this
trip.
is the recommendation of the show. You've got
Okay.
to read. At least pick a Murakami
He's
novel.
been
Norwegian
highly
Wood.
recommended by other
Norwegian
people as
Wood.
well.
Oh yeah, it's great, but it's like Murakami. Haruki.
I don't think that's right, actually, but I'll look it up.
Muraka.
I don't think it's quite that
Murakami.
simple, but I'll look
What's
it
the
up.
name of
I
the
don't know.
book?
No,
Norwegian Wood, I would
Okay.
recommend. Norwegian Wood, which comes
Okay.
from the Beatles song.
Okay.
I think there's a Beatles song with Norwegian
Yeah.
Wood. Jim, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So, oh yeah.
No, I think you're right. Actually, it is. I'm sorry. I thought it was more complicated. Haruki Murakami.
Murakami, yeah. Anyway, okay. Wow. Okay. Well, have you read any Japanese authors? Did you have any like or get exposed to any of that when you were there?
So, this is actually a good question because I usually do tons of research before I go on a trip.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
And this is the first trip, I think, of my life where I just wrote a check, got on a plane, and went in with no research. I didn't even know where, like, we had the podcast, and I was like, I didn't even know where these places were. You're like, no, Beth, you're heading south. I'm like, oh, okay.
But
I
Beth,
guess we're
that's
heading
because
south.
you're traveling so much now. All of us are
Yeah.
left in the dust because you are just traveling so much you can't keep up with yourself.
Right.
Yeah, that's what happens when you actually live and don't just like do
I
other
think the
things.
solution is to take John along as your assistant on your next trip.
Oh God, I would kill.
Yeah.
No, I'm in. Easy sell. God, oh, I love Japan. I go back anytime. But I also avoided Japan for a very long time, and I find that interesting. I would have argued if you had asked me 20 years ago why I was avoiding Japan, I'd be like, oh, it's another rich country. I was that kind of dumbass Marxist. Like I was just like, oh, it's a rich country. Like I want to go to, and it was like somehow that was, and I think that was, but what a dipshit I was. I mean, it is wonderful. And did I tell the story about the Kyoto subway? Have I told you guys the story when Ted and I were in the Kyoto subway? We're on the Kyoto subway, which I'm telling you, it's the New York subway, but clean, spotless, and working smoothly. It's beautiful and clean. It's same trains. And we get on the subway, we're riding on the subway, and there's a middle-aged woman with this fabulous hair, this little like blue dress, like pleated dress, and pearls, like long pearl. And she was like with a little bag, just chit-chatting. And there were other people chit-chatting, and all of a sudden the doors open, and two little boys, they had to be in kindergarten, walk on by themselves in uniform with their little backpacks and they're chit-chatting. They go two stops and then one of them gets and they're talking and one of them gets off and they're saying bye to each other and they're like reaching in and shaking hands and then they back up and say bye. And clearly, after they're doing this for about 5 minutes, you can hear the PA system. Will the little child please step away from the door so we can close the door and move on? And the children are still laughing and smiling, and they're not closing the doors, and nobody seems to mind. Nobody's yelling at them. And then, sure enough, they eventually close the doors. The back off, the doors close, and they're laughing and smiling at each other. And I thought, in Kyoto, your kindergartner can take the subway by himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
Ted and I are like, we want to live here. It's great. I mean, that's the security thing you're talking about, Beth. It's like amazing.
Yeah. And we had a calligraphy lesson. Again, that is super hard. I have my supposed calligraphy that says cherry blossom in Japanese, but if you were Japanese, or probably even if you tried to use Google Translate on it, it would not show up as cherry blossom. But you spend an hour, you practice and practice and practice. It's like, wow, this is way harder than it looks. Um, And then you guys, I think, saw the pictures. We got to have a traditional kimono put on us, which again was just incredible. Like having, like, understanding how the garment works and all that.
How about the Scorsese movie where who gets buried in a box? The priest. What
You
movie is
mean The
that?
Silence, Andrew Garfield?
Oh, is that what it is? The Silence. Was that good? Did you like that? Wait, I thought is that the one where he's a priest in Japan in the like 1400s?
Yes.
That was Andrew Garfield. God, I didn't even remember that was
Isn't
Andrew
Andrew
Garfield. I like
Garfield
that
in the
movie.
movie that Beth won't see?
Yes.
One?
Yes.
Which
Mhm.
one?
Yes. The hunt is over, whatever it's called.
I
What's
think it's
that?
called After the Hunt.
After the Hunt.
Okay.
This is a new
Yes.
movie?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
The Things We Do for Lust.
Sorry. Sorry. That was the commercial break to the Japan.
Well, he was in a movie that was set in Japan, so it all ties in
There we
together.
go. That's fair. Wow. So, are you going to
Oh,
go
but
back
here,
to see the
I'm
north?
looking. Well, I'm looking through my pictures. One of the things that we did that turned out to be great, so I have to give the 25-year-old credit for that. We were in Osaka, starving because we had like driven there that morning, and we're just like around in a touristy area. So we're walking along one of the rivers, and we're trying to find food, and we see this sushi place, but somehow it's determined we should try the ramen shop up above. So we go up, and they give us a number, and it's like all QR code, and it's on your phone, and the 25-year-old's in charge. And then we're standing down, and it's starting to drizzle, and we're kind of like, well, how much long? And there's 10 of us. Like, this is one of the days the whole group's there because we had just gotten there. Oh, I think they said like 10 or 15 minutes. Meanwhile, we've been standing outside for 20 minutes already. So I'm like, well, that's not right. And she's like, oh, well, the number's going down. I was like, okay, again, we don't know what this means. So finally, we go in, and it turns out, and I'll send you guys pictures. Each person sits, it almost looks like an old school telephone booth. You're sitting on a little stool, and you have these two little wooden walls and then a curtain in front of you, and you fill out your order on a computer, and you sit there, and then the curtain goes up and they hand you your food. So we never had to register as 10 people because we weren't seated together. As spots came up, they sat us. So we didn't sit, like, four of us sat together. The other six were somewhere else. But it was really good ramen. And so then when we're back out on the street is when we find out it was rated really highly on TikTok, and the picture had to be taken with the sign and all that. So the ramen was good. I'm glad I didn't know it was TikTok inspired as we were waiting. And it was kind of neat to sit in this little like space and have your food and have the curtain go up and have your food brought to you. Um, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I had enough stuff for 2 weeks. There were I had to rewear some pants a couple times. The stuff I wore in Tokyo, it was too damn hot to even worry about trying to get that taken care of or recycled.
Hilarious.
Some of the people did do laundry while we were there, but again, like, I've traveled for so long, I kinda have it down to a science, and I bought stuff there. So, I mean, a carry-on that I could then bring clothes that I bought there home.
I don't even understand that.
Yeah.
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 That's impressive. 2 weeks plus you bought stuff and brought it back.
All right,
I
the
don't
other
know.
one, my sister Mary's
I don't know
favorite
how.
movie, possibly her all-time favorite documentary, is Jiro Dreams of Sushi. Have you heard of that?
I
I've
have
heard of
heard
it,
of
but
it.
never seen it.
A documentary about a guy who makes sushi in the subway of Tokyo. I think it's on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, it's great. It's a great film. It's another just standard Tokyo thing that when I think of it, but it's also like, it's the sushi culture. Fantastic
And then
film.
we went to Nara, which has the largest wooden building in the world, a temple. with this giant Buddha. And that was incredible. But you walk through a deer park first because they're the sacred deer. Now, I know from the DC area and I know from New York, I have deer in my backyard all the time. There's nothing sacred about deer. They just eat all your plants.
Mhm.
And so here you are in this deer park, and then you can buy kibble and feed the deer. So now you have aggressive deer chasing you around to get the kibble. I stayed far, far away from that. I was like, let me go see the Buddha. I don't need to see deer. I have that at home. But it was sort of interesting, this whole, like, he was really proud of it. Our guide, like, we're going to go to the sacred deer park. And we're like, deer? We're going to see deer? Like, they're a menace in the States. Like, why are we going to see these deer?
These are
Yes, John.
sacred deer, Beth.
Yeah, sacred deer, yes.
Sacred.
So probably the best meal I had in Kyoto at the Airbnb we stayed at, the guy served us dinner. The best meal I had was the deer steak, the venison steak, and they serve it. It's better than any steak I've had in the U.S., like any beef steak I've ever had. It was incredible. It's like nothing. I think they domesticate them, or is it semi-domesticated? They're not wild deer. It's not just wild deer the way you would do in the U.S., where it's kind of
Right.
usually kind of gamey. This was incredibly tender and delicious. It was one of the best steaks I've ever had.
No, I had venison. I'm glad you said that. I had venison when I was there. It was I've had venison before. The best venison and the best meat I've ever had in my life.
Hmm.
Incredible. The other thing we did, there were a couple things that were part of the tour that several of us were uncomfortable with. So one thing was we went on a
Getting
rickshaw
naked in an
ride.
onsen.
Well, yeah, there's that, but a rickshaw ride. And I had no interest in doing it, but you get there and they pair you up. And it's, as our guide said, this is part of the tourist industry. These are jobs for these people in this small town.
Mhm.
Please do it. I'm like, okay. And the person pulling us around, turns out he was the youngest one of the whole crew. He was 18. He had a good sense of humor. We got, had the experience, but several of us are like, I am not having another human pull me around. This is awful. And then we went on our final night together, the whole group. We went to a traditional Japanese restaurant, like hall that had a geisha in training, just called a Mako, I think. Meiko. Again, they're no longer sex workers, but it was this whole thing. Like, we were asking a lot of questions because we had mostly women in the group, and we were all kind of horrified that after you finish the equivalent of junior high, you can choose this and do this 5-year apprenticeship, and you live with your house mother. And yeah, this she was at least a second year apprentice, and she did answer some questions, and we were trying to be respectful, but I'm thinking, how does a 15-year-old girl say, I want to do this? Um, and so again, like, that's where you get like the culture issue and Western versus Eastern. And there was just this interesting article in today's New York Times about the first female prime minister in Japan and what that could mean for women in Japan. So that was another time where, like, our cultural values and beliefs were kind of really conflicting with
Mhm.
this. And then they wanted us all to get pictures taken with her, and we're like, I don't. So we did our group of 10 with her, but we're like, I do not need an individual picture with this. I'm really uncomfortable with this. And especially having lived in Asia for a couple of years and knowing jobs are available to women, it just freaked me out a little.
Where was that? That was in Tokyo?
In Kyoto.
Oh, that was in Kyoto. Weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Last words, Beth. Sum
Um
up.
so I did watch the Shogun series, the one that came out a couple of years ago after I got back, and was texting a friend that it will take way more studying to understand how incredibly intricate the houses and families are in Japanese history, and the concubines and the intermarriage and the swapping. And so I couldn't even I've seen the whole series now twice. I'm still very beginner level of how it all worked, but it was neat to see it and see that we'd been on some of these same streets, and when the first unifying emperor or shogun or whatever he is in like the 1600s had carved out some of this land for the street where the geishas were going to be and for the church. And so it's kind of neat to like have that connection. And I'm fine with the fact that I did no homework ahead of time and just went in with no expectations and had a great trip. But if I went back again, I'd probably do a little more research before I got there.
Well, Beth,
Yes.
we're about to test your knowledge of
Uh-oh.
Japan.
Woohoo.
Since you are now our resident expert, we're going to do a little mini quiz.
Okay.
You are going to play against our other 3 panelists as a team.
Oh boy.
Okay.
And because she is both the most mature and the most competitive, Shelley will be the captain of the team, meaning the only official answer that will be accepted for the team is the one that Shelley gives. Although you will be able to consult because Beth is going to answer the questions first.
Excellent way to preempt.
All 3 of these questions are how Japan ranks compared to other countries. And we're going to score this on the old Price is Right model, meaning you want to get closest without going over.
Say
Meaning
$1,
if you
Shelley.
rank Japan more highly than they actually deserve, you've gone over.
Okay.
All right, the first question is this. The World Economic Forum annually does a gender equity index for each country based on 4 factors such as political empowerment, health, access to employment, and so forth. The rankings for 2024 of 146 countries, the highest ranking meaning the best equity score, meaning the most equitable society, where did Japan rank out of 146 countries? Yes. Well, Beth is already going to have answered
She
first.
has to answer it first.
So wait
then we
till she
discuss
gives
it.
her answer, and then you can discuss it. Well, you are obviously going to be influenced by her
It's
answer.
the game. That's
part
the
of the
game.
strategy of the game, right?
Okay. I'll say 37th.
Okay, Beth has said 37.
I wanted to say
Now
37th.
discuss.
She went over, so say 1.
She went over.
John, you've misunderstood the instruction.
Okay, explain it to me.
I'm
Okay,
consulting
if
with
she
the team.
ranked Japan higher than
Yes.
they actually are,
Higher
then
meaning
that is
a lower
bad.
number, meaning a
Okay.
lower number.
Huh?
Higher meaning a lower number.
No,
She's
1.
saying they ranked 37th among 146 countries, meaning
Right.
they are the 37th most gender equitable country.
Right.
If she has overstated that, she has missed the mark. If she's understated it, she's still got a chance.
Oh, so we should say 150 or whatever.
So if I say and this isn't my final answer, I'm just giving an example, Jim, just to clarify. If I said our team was guessing 7, and the answer was they're 1, we
You
would win.
because you're closest
Closer.
without going over.
Exactly.
So why wouldn't we either say the top number or we say 1 less than Beth? Those are our choices. Yeah. That's the Price is Right. We basically say
Again,
1
you've
less than Beth.
misunderstood the strategy, John, but do whatever
I
you
don't
guys
understand
want.
this. Then explain
That
it.
is why Shelley is the team captain.
Shelley, you have to figure this out. If Beth is wrong,
If Beth says 37, Beth said 37. If we said 36 and they're 5th, we would win.
we would win. So we
Yeah.
should, so 30, anything lower than 37, we say 36. If we think it's above 37, then we say the highest number, right? Because it's anything from there down to 37. We would win. Am I wrong about that?
No, that is correct. Now you have finally
Yeah.
grasped.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So our choices are the top number
question
or
is, do you
36.
think Beth
Our answer
has
is
guessed
36
too
or top.
high or
Right.
too low?
Have we
Or
thought
perhaps
she's
she's
right.
made it right on the money.
Right.
Perhaps.
In which
Exactly.
case, it doesn't matter what you guess. You're going to be wrong.
Right. Right.
So team, what do we think?
I think I was going to guess in the 30s. So
I
for
would have
some
guessed
reason. But I mean, I think it's a more
This
equitable,
is
but it's
why
nothing
we
like
only have
Europe.
one opponent, because otherwise we would be here all
I
night.
would guess
My guess is it's probably around there. So I don't know. I really don't know.
Shelley, you're the team captain. What is the official guess of the
30.
team?
30.
So say
And
36.
both teams have gone over.
Oh.
Well over. Beth, would you like to re-guess?
No, just
well
tell us.
over.
Wait, what?
Japan, according to the World Economic Forum in 2024, ranked 118th out of 146 countries on gender equity.
Wow. Okay.
The number one country, according to the World Economic Forum?
Norway.
Something in Scandinavia.
Iceland.
Oh, okay.
Iceland, sure, because they're living on the dole.
Okay. Next question. Now I can't remember the name of the group. There is a group that assesses
Ramones.
countries that are not, where English is not the primary language, for the rate of English language proficiency. And they define English language proficiency as sufficient command of the English language to be able to use it for work purposes. So of 118 countries that were assessed in 2024, where does Japan rank on English proficiency, Beth?
110.
Okay. Team?
I think they're bad, but they probably aren't. They're educated. It's rich. They're probably educated, so it's probably just that alone gives them probably an advantage. Money, because they're learning it.
Well, John, remember the strategy you talked about the last round?
Yeah.
If you
So
think Beth is
I'd
too
say the
low,
top
what
number.
would you
I'd
guess?
say the top number. I'd guess the top number.
No,
mean-
that's the
Wait,
wrong
John.
strategy.
The top by
Jim.
top number, I mean the highest number, the end of the thing.
Jim,
No.
maybe I misunderstood.
Okay,
So,
so in other words,
what's
if
my
Beth has guessed
range?
too high, if you think Beth has guessed too low, you want to go guess one more than she did, one higher than she did. That's the safest way to get closer without going over.
Which
right?
would be
without
117.
going over.
No, she said 110.
Yeah. That's
So then say 1. Oh no, you don't want to say 1. You want to say 1 less than
Because
her.
1, you could, unless you're right, you're going to be wrong. You're
Okay,
going to have gone
so
over.
say 1 less than Beth.
Okay,
So-
explaining the rules to John, we need a separate episode for that.
so it,
Did you never watch The Price is Right?
But what we answer is 1 less than Beth. If we think it's anything less than Beth, we answer 1 less than Beth.
I know. That's why I
Shelley.
said 30 last time. We'll do John's 109.
And in fact, Japan ranks 92.
So you guys won.
And if we had said
Okay.
50, we would have been all wrong.
And Beth would have won.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Okay,
Okay.
last question.
See, I did no research before this trip.
Last question. 140 countries are the residents, or the citizens, or the, I guess residents is the right word, of 140 countries are surveyed annually as to their level of happiness, personal satisfaction with their lives. Not the happiness with the state of their country, but the happiness with their own lives. Important distinction. And they rate it on a 1 to 10 scale. And it is issued every year under the title, The Happiness Report. The 2025 Happiness Report has not yet been listed. So the 2024, out of 140 countries, where did Japan rank on the Happiness Report? In other words, the number one country is the country that has the happiest people. And oh, by the way, number one country for English proficiency is?
UK.
No.
Non-English speaking countries, Peggy. The Netherlands. Anyway, happiness. Where does Japan rank out of 140 countries on happiness? Individual happiness, not societal happiness.
I'm going to say 45.
Out of 140.
I said
You did
50.
it.
I think just like Beth, clearly.
So you two have been to Japan, so
So what did you say, Peg? Peggy said 10. John said what?
I mean, I said 50. I said 50.
50?
I'm just thinking about in Japan, like, I mean, all the stories about people working too much and feeling oppressed at, like very, like, I don't know. It doesn't seem happy in a way. They have to practice their cello all the time, just like my children. Yeah, exactly.
And what did you say, Beth? Sorry, I'm trying to. And Beth said what?
45.
40?
45.
45? Yeah.
Hmm.
So you're going to say, what are you going to say? Yeah, go for it, Shelly.
I say 30.
Well, you're both over, but Beth is much closer because it's actually 51.
Ooh,
Oh.
okay.
The top country, anybody guess?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Finland.
Singapore.
Finland,
Gosh
okay.
darn it.
All right.
Yeah.
Now,
Sorry,
the
John.
next segment has nothing whatsoever to do with Japan, and I should issue a warning that it is completely irrelevant to Peggy and Beth's life, but it does illustrate how my mind works, which Shelley professes to enjoy. In any event, I have never been to Japan, and I've never been nearly as many places as any of the other four of my co-hosts have been. But I have been one place that none of them have been, because none of them, other than me, have been to the 55th reunion of the 1970 St. John the Evangelist Silver Spring 8th grade graduating class, which happened approximately 2 weeks ago at the Bearcat Brewery in Kensington, Maryland. Now, the Bearcat Brewery is a bar that has both an indoor and an outdoor, and we were outdoors. So I was outdoors consecutively for over 90 minutes without complaint, which indicates that I was actually enjoying myself pretty well. It was very nice, except for a few people who were at my high school reunion last year. I had not seen these people in 50 years. One exception other than that was there was one person who I had also gone to college with that I probably saw the last time we had a 10-year college reunion, which is almost 40 years ago. But they were all very nice. It was very pleasant. I have a few brief anecdotes to tell. So Peggy and Beth can go out and have a beer while I'm doing this. First, one of the women who helped organize it, her given name was Carrie Fitzgerald. I believe, if I've got this right, her married name is Alexa, Carrie Fitzgerald Alexa. And so she was in our class at St. John's, which was elementary school, 1 through 8th grade. She was in our class through the 4th grade, and then her family moved to England. And then before the 8th grade, they came back from England, and Carrie came back and rejoined us for the 8th grade. And she had the most adorable English accent. Seriously. Mad crush on Carrie Fitzgerald and her English accent. And so I was talking to her a little bit, and we talked about the English accent, and she told me that when her family came back from England, they took an ocean liner, and she said she and her sister spent the entire time aboard the ocean liner desperately trying to lose their English accents unsuccessfully, which I never thought about. But I think about when you're that age, I guess you don't want anything that makes you seem weird or unusual
Different.
or anything. But of
You want to
course,
stand out.
I did tell her 55 years after the fact how adorable I thought her accent was at the time. This I'm not making up or exaggerating at all, but it is absolutely true that at least 3 different people came up to me totally independently, said hello, blah, blah, blah. And the first question they had for me was, do you still know the names? Can you still name all the presidents of the United States in order?
And you said
Oh,
yes.
This was the dominant memory they had of me.
I thought they were going to ask
not unusual.
if you were the guy on the podcast.
No, none of them asked if I was the guy on the podcast, but they did ask, and I did actually name the president of the United States in order to prove that I could do it.
That's
so I don't know
impressive.
what to make of that. The other thing that was a recurring theme is that, of course, all of them are my age. So many, if not the overwhelming majority of them, have moved to the Delaware beaches, or they've moved to Florida, or they've moved to like a rural place. One of them I will tell you about, who moved somewhere in rural Virginia. And so I say, well, last year I moved to Brooklyn, New York. And they were all very nice, but I could tell all of them thought that I had absolutely lost my mind moving to it, that I was moving in the
Absolutely no
wrong
question.
direction.
Right.
So that was interesting. I will also tell you that another young woman I went to school with, whose name was Annette Rikus, and I cannot remember what her married name was. She and her husband have moved to rural Virginia. And she came up and said hello and blah, blah, blah. We exchanged the in details and so forth. And then she said, I'm so glad you're here because there's something I wanted to tell you. And I said, oh, okay. And she said, I don't know if you remember this, but back when we were in 8th grade, a bunch of us girls had a slumber party. And you know what slumber party, one of the things we do is we would call boys up on the slumber party, and we called you up. And I just thought you were so cool and nice about how you handled the phone call that I just wanted to tell you that. And I don't even know if you remember it. I told her, I will tell you what exactly I told her, which uh, I do not remember the conversation specifically, but I absolutely do remember getting the phone call from the slumber party. And the reason is because I was so surprised and flattered that I was one of the people they called from the slumber party. I had no idea that I would be making that list. I mean, I knew that sort of stuff went on, but I just had no
So, Jim,
thought that I would be on that list. And
having been
I actually probably felt good for about 2 or 3 hours, which is a lot. So
well, I'm sorry to tell you, but having been one of those girls when I was a teenager, that's really not a list you necessarily
well, I don't know.
wanna be
I
on.
mean, I think actually I thought that most of the other guys they call were considered kind of cool, so I actually wanted to be on that, but I don't know. I guess it depends on their slumber party. I wonder if they still have slumber parties, and
They call them
what they do at
sleepovers.
them now.
Sleepovers
Probably,
now.
take crystal meth or something, but I
Yeah.
don't.
Sleepovers, I think
Any
they
event.
call them.
So that is my big thing. Tonight I was planning to do something that I have never done before, uh, but that had to be changed. So that will go on, and I guess that's all we have for tonight. So John, you want to take us home?
Sure, and so we want to thank everybody for listening. We wish for those of you who just can't get enough of In Search of an Argument, we'll have a bonus episode on our Patreon site. You can be our patron by going to our Patreon site and sponsor us, and there'll be a little bonus where maybe I'll get Jim to explain what he would have done tonight, and where I will tell you the story behind the lost episodes and why they've been lost.
Okay, so I'll tell you right now what I would
you
have done
want-
tonight. I was going to actually do something I've absolutely never done before, which was to be happy for 90 minutes in a row. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
and
That's not what I was
outside,
gonna do.
being outside.
Yes, I
All
have
right,
to be
You're not
outside and
melting.
we will
happy. That
continue to
is quite the long shot for me. Yes, actually.
we'll still try to figure out what it was. But thanks for listening. We are on Blue Sky, X, Facebook, all the other usual suspect locations. And we would love for you to give us feedback. I keep trying to get us off those places, but then I find out that's where people are actually finding us. So if you're if you're able to give us feedback, we'd love it. You can go to insearchofanargument.com and give us feedback there. You can give us feedback on our YouTube channel. If you don't watch this podcast, you can watch it. We're on YouTube, or you can listen to it on all the standard places, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all the lesser locations, and all the subsidiary locations. And what else? What have I forgotten to talk about? If you have an idea for the show, we'd love to hear
on
it.
the air.
If you want to give us some feedback on any episode, we'd love to hear it. If you'd like to be a guest on the episode, we'd love it. We just love people, and we want to be
Or
with
if you've
people.
been to your 8th grade reunion recently.
Or if you've been to an 8th
Right.
grade reunion, and Peg is putting in the chat that we really need a guest, and she's pleading with you not to watch us on YouTube. And Beth, is going to Greece in May, so we have a lot to talk about.
When
So
are we
stay
doing the
tuned.
live event in Peggy and Charlie's house? That now that they've become a full-time live venue.
Yeah, they have a live venue. They got a license for it and everything. I'm sure they're all over that. So we'll do that there next. But thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.